This is the index we are announcing today. We'll talk about the scientific design of Apple Park. Before that, we'll briefly present the characteristics of high-rise and horizontal buildings. When you look at the large office buildings around the world, they come in a variety of shapes. Some are low and spacious, while others favor skyscrapers. Let's take a look at how the architecture of these buildings influences the culture of the company. The most common form is the skyscraper. Skyscrapers are awe-inspiring to behold. It's a physically enormous display of potential energy, and it's a testament to the power of the company that built it. A multi-story office building has the disadvantage of preventing internal communication. The great thing about the corporate buildings is the synergy that happens when employees come together to exchange ideas. That's why cutting-edge tech companies like Facebook and Apple insist on building offices instead of working from home. But in a skyscraper, the only way to get between floors is by elevator. Riding an elevator is a discontinuous and not very pleasant spatial experience that involves a long wait, being confined to a small box, and then exiting when the doors open. So there's less interaction between floors. Also, it's hard to create a sense of community. In general, office buildings are located in dense cities, so they inevitably take the form of high-rise buildings. Also in architecture, the higher the floor, the more powerful you are because you can look down without exposing yourself. Therefore, traditional companies usually prefer high-rise buildings with a chairman's office on the top floor. But tech companies with their younger workforce emphasize a horizontal structure and prefer low-rise buildings. A horizontal office building is a spatial structure that has the same hierarchy of power everywhere. But there are also downsides. Although they appear autonomous and creative, they are not tall enough to impress outsiders looking in from a distance. They are also located in low-density areas, which makes it difficult to take advantage of the surrounding urban fabric. Then let's talk about one of the horizontal buildings, Apple Park.
Designed by British architect Norman Foster, the 4-story Apple building is shaped like a circular donut with a giant forest in the center. A circle is complete, continuous, unbroken, and closed. Its shape denotes completion, a form of undivided perfection. Apple Park is both a building and a symbol open to many interpretations. Corporate campuses in the mid-20th century were established on virgin grounds. The best of them, such as Hero Serenades General Motors Technical Center in Warren, Michigan, or Illinois, reflected post-war America's optimism and thriving economy. These campuses portrayed a forward-thinking, if somewhat sterile, perspective of the workplace and corporate innovation. New goods and ideas would emerge from an isolated company culture and be distributed around the world via truck and plane, as well as broadcast and print media. These campuses also represented white flights, the rapid decentralization of the American urban landscape, and the rise of the automobile. In other words, Apple Park in Cupertino, California is a 21st century remake of the mid-century corporate office complex, with a focus on staff wellness and environmental sensitivity. Next, we'll talk about the scientific design elements used in Apple Park.
Next, we will talk about the specific design elements used in Apple Park. In the middle of Apple Park's ground level are natural light and air shafts. These shafts are spaced at regular intervals on the floor plan and run in tight concentric circles to bring light deep into the office. Of course, they also provide natural ventilation. On both edges, there is a nearly 5-meter wide exterior corridor with glass walls facing the exterior and interior respectively to bring natural light into the office. The walls between the corridor and the offices are also fully glazed, allowing light to penetrate deeper. The building has a 2-meter sunshade protruding from the exterior wall. The sunshade has solar panels which is called BIPV attached to it. The upper part of the curved glass window on the exterior wall has a natural ventilation system connected to the 2-meter shade. This creates the effect of an open window in a regular building. For 9 months of the year, the building operates without air conditioning. Jobs hated air conditioning, especially fans. He didn't want people to open windows either, so he opted for natural ventilation as a building that breathed like a people who worked in it. To support Jobs' desire for the building to breathe, the facilities team consulted aerodynamics experts. As a result, Apple Parks used special hollow concrete slabs for the floor and ceiling. A cross-section shows that the inside of the cover has narrow gaps that allow air to pass through the outside. The shade created by the covering creates a temperature difference between the top of the panels and the shaded interior, and the convection created by the temperature difference naturally directs the wind into the building. As a result, in the ring, air is drawn in by a device located inside under a canopy, and elsewhere vents let the hot air out like a chimney. In addition, water pipes embedded in the concrete of the ceiling and floor keep the temperature between 20 and 25 degrees Celsius, minimizing the use of thermostats. These principles maximize convection between Apple Park's interior air and California's dry, hot exterior air, allowing natural ventilation to circulate the air without mechanical equipment for about 70% of the year. These design elements make it a zero-carbon building and also a state-of-the-art green building. Do more with less. This is Foster's philosophy of minimalist architecture. High-tech minimalism heavily influenced by Buckminster Fuller. It's a super minimalism. Cutting-edge specifications are hidden from view. It hides in a very refined and concise form. From the beginning of his career, Foster was committed to eco-friendly architecture. It's not an exaggeration to say that the Apple Ring is an extension of Foster's earlier work. This is our study plan for 5 weeks. For the next week, we will present about the site analysis of Apple Park. This is the study plan for the other 6 weeks.